Fantasy 14 broadcasting, I'm going to showcase usually what I do daily. Sometimes I don't really play Final Fantasy 14 daily, but usually whenever I don't rate, or it depends on what contents I can join after I log in. Sometimes I do rate. I create this broadcasting to showcase usually what I do daily without really like reading with my static. So the 6.2 expansion will be dropped very soon. I think Square Enix has disclosed the 6.2 expansion will be dropped close to the end of August. So I'm really looking forward to that expansion since there will be tons of new contents added to the game. So I will for sure broadcast my play when 6.2 expansion drops. But before that, there will be still many interesting things I do daily. So that's the reason why I'd like to create this broadcasting. Alright, so usually after I log in, the first thing I'd like to do is leveling roulette. So this is actually the leveling roulette. Right now, you can see the job in it is actually a healer. The reason why I want to play leveling roulette is actually I can gain this correct anthem cluster. So as you can see, by playing leveling roulette, by completing the leveling roulette mission, I can obtain one correct anthem cluster. So basically, it's a one per day. What I can use correct anthem cluster is I can use it to exchange materials. So as you can see, I'm actually showing everybody my dragon's weapon. As you can see, so right on the weapon sub window here, so you can see under material there are two slots. So I have for sure embedded the determination slot, the determination material to slot 1, and then direct hit rate material to slot 2. So in anticipation of 6.2, in 6.2 there will be a huge content. So the second tier Asphodatos rate will be dropped. So it's huge, like in this game, especially on one of the raiders. So I'd like to accumulate as many anthem cluster as possible, because usually one anthem cluster can be exchanged to one material. So once I complete a Savage fight in 6.2 Asphodatos raid tier, so I can for sure, if I'm lucky enough, I can actually get one weapon or accessory or gear. So I want to actually embed one material to actually enhance the status of that gear or accessory. So that's the reason why this is actually deemed like doing the daily roulette leveling. It's actually considered as one of the preparations for 6.2. Alright, so as you can see right now, earlier when I clicked leveling roulette, the job in need was healer, and now you can see adventure in need is changed to tank. So that means if I play this leveling roulette as of now as a tank, so I can actually not only gain several basic gear, flame seal, these two different types of elegant tombstones. So the second line here, you can see this correct anthem cluster, correct dendro cluster, and then additional flame seal and additional gear. I can actually gain these by playing the adventure in need, aka the tank job. Alright, so before I engage in today's daily leveling roulette, let me actually say hi to my friend. So as you can see, now I just highlighted this player. His name is Esprit. Esprit belongs to the same free company I belong to. He's actually one of the best readers. He's really kind. He has actually helped me grow a lot. So I have a habit every time when I see my friends play. So I like to say hi to them. So let me actually wave to Esprit. All right. So now let's check again. Yeah. So adventure in need for leveling roulette is a still tank. So right now my job is a dragoon. So dragoon is not a tank. Dragoon is one of the melee DPS. So I need to actually change my job to either my paladin or gunbreaker. So luckily, as you can see, as of now, I have 5 jobs. I'm quite proficient with. Like many of my FC friends, FE readers, they have actually helped me learn these jobs. So luckily, I have one healer, which is a sage. I have 2 tanks, paladin and a gunbreaker, and I have 2 DPS jobs, reaper and a dragoon. So let's actually switch to paladin, and let's double check. Yep. So adventure in need is still a tank. So let's actually queue this job. So playing the adventure in need usually significantly reduces the queuing time. The next thing I'd like to do is actually to practice my rotation while waiting for any mission. So as you can see right now, well, actually I don't have to practice any rotation, so the leveling roulette is ready to go. All right. So since it's a roulette, so the dungeon, it looks like one of the 4 players who actually queued for this leveling roulette has actually abandoned this duty. So basically, right now, Square Enix has actually started a punishment system. Basically, that means any player, once the duty is actually about to begin, like earlier we saw the starting duty window. If you abandon this mission, you will actually gain 1 punishment. That punishment does not show in front of a player's window. So basically, if you gain 2 punishment, that means that you cannot engage in the same duty for 30 minutes. So that's the reason why every time when you play Final Fantasy XIV, you actually want to think a concrete plan, right? Like now my plan is to actually engage to initiate this leveling roulette. So let's get to it. And since it's the roulette, so the dungeon is actually random. So the game actually basically randomly selects 1 dungeon. All right, Mada's Party. This is actually one of the dungeons in Endwalker, the newest expansion. It's actually one of my favorite dungeons. So as you can see, I do like my glamour. My glamour is actually a suit, and I have actually dyed the color. Playing tank, the first thing in dungeon is actually to put on the tank stance. By putting on the tank stance significantly, I gain aggro. Basically, as the tank, I need to actually draw utmost attention from all of the enemies. So the enemies, they won't really attack my healer and my other DPS. So Paladin has a very interesting action which I just activated. It's actually Invoke. Basically, this Invoke render me 8 seconds of Invoke. Basically, like I won't get hit by any enemy. So that Invoke is done. So I need to activate another self-medication too. Which is called the Sentinel. Sentinel basically renders me 30% of damage reduction. It's very important for a tank to actually use the self-medication too, especially in dungeon. As you can see, after the beginning of this dungeon, I have drawn attention of two groups of enemies. If I don't really use self-medication too, I should be able to survive as long as healer is quite proficient. Healer knows what they are supposed to do. DPS really know what they are supposed to do. But I still like to use those abilities. Again, like playing this game, there is actually one concept. Do not hoard any actions. Like, you do not have to save any action. So just always use them. Put your actions in cooldown. Basically, that means let your action to replenish, and then you can actually use those actions later when they are ready. They are off to cooldown. All right, so now I want to actually draw attention to another group of enemies. So basically, this is actually called Big Pool. Big Pool basically means not only I play as a tank, only just pull one group of enemy, so I pull two groups. So it looks like the healer is struggling a little bit. So Paladin has a very useful action. It's actually called Clemency. So it's actually one of the tanks who can actually heal themselves. Clemency is actually very, very useful, but playing as a Paladin, I do not want to use my action Clemency all the time because I do have a healer, right? You can see like my HP is below half, and then I think this healer struggles to heal me up, so that's the reason why I need to use the Clemency. I don't want to just die here. Usually in dungeon, if tank dies, the second player who actually draws the aggro is usually a healer. As you can see, healer is not the tank. Healer does not have self-medication actions. So basically, if tank dies, healer will die very fast. So you can imagine if a healer dies, then DPS usually they don't have a healing actions, then DPS dies. So basically that means that when tank dies, it will create a chain reaction. So bad chain reaction. Okay, so here we go, the first boss. This is actually a red white. Yeah, so the shield, I just actually used actually two actions to actually add shield to healer and the DPS. Looks like I did not really give them shield in time, so next time I will try my best to activate that action faster. So this is actually called a tank buster. You can see like there is this red ring surrounding my character. Basically, boss is actually going to strike heavily on my character. So luckily, all of the tanks have self medication too, to actually ward off to reduce the damage of tank buster. So if I didn't use a self-medication too, so I would take significant damage. So that was the second red white, and then I just used one ability called Reprisal. All of the tanks have this ability. Basically, Reprisal reduce the damage for 10%. Yeah, I didn't really dodge that AOE. AOE stands for area of effect. So here is another tank buster. Yeah, so earlier I didn't dodge that AOE in time. But because my job is a tank, usually in this game we actually call tank privilege. So even though I got hit by that AOE, I wouldn't die, right? I basically just took more damage, and then got a debuff, like the damage down debuff. So that means, like, if I got this debuff, when I actually strike the enemy, my DPS output will be reduced. Earlier, we actually saw another type of AoE. So basically, 3 players had the rings surrounding them. So that's why the 3 players had to spread out. So this is actually a very interesting mechanic in game. So you see, like above my head, there is this iconic Final Fantasy finger symbol. I have to really, use the analog direction to control where my character really goes. So here is another tank buster before we beat down the boss. Usually, most tank buster only targets tank. Rarely, tank buster has an AoE effect, so that means that if any other 3 players that they actually get very close to me, when I take tank buster, they will also get hit. So that's really, really dangerous, because if non-tank players get tank buster, they might probably die. So whoever actually play Final Fantasy, just be aware of that. Most of the times, the tank buster only targets the tank. Rarely, the tank buster has AoE effect. So as you can see now, for this group of enemies, basically, I do not really have to draw the enemy really further away. I think it's just one of my bad habits. You can see the path is actually blocked by this fallen tree. So that means right now there are only these 3 enemies we need to strike down. Usually from the enemy, they also shoot out AoE damage. So tanks, and I believe also melee DPS players have one ability. It's actually called interruption. Interruption can for sure interrupt the enemy's AoE strike. Alright, so the path is clear now, and then onto the next group of enemies. Yeah, this part is actually a bit sad. Yeah, so the innocent villagers are turned into monsters. Yeah, after the last monster, after the last spawns, so this is the time I can actually use the invoke again. So basically, the reason why I can use the invoke again was because the invoke was actually off cooldown. So remember earlier at the beginning of this dungeon, I have used the invoke, and then the invoke was actually on cooldown, and then invoke off cooldown, so I could really use the invoke again. So as for Paladin, there is a very useful ability. It's actually called Holy. I'm gonna use this ability right now. As you can see, I have placed a ring of shields around myself. So it's actually called the Holy Sheltron. Basically, Sheltron is a blocking action. As you can see, the name suggests, when I use a Sheltron, I just block the enemy's strike based on my shield's blocking points. So right now, my tanks, the gears and accessories, it's actually called a BIS. So basically, I have actually gained the highest level of gear for my Paladin. So that's why my shield is actually it's very strong. So shield consumes 50 points. Sorry, I forgot the name of the Paladin's point. As you can see now, I have 65, so I can use the Sheltron now. Basically, when Paladin use Sheltron plus either Sentinel or Rampart is actually another self-mitigation too. Rampart renders Paladin 20% of a damage reduction for about 15 to 20 seconds. So basically, once the Sheltron and the either Sentinel or Rampart is used, Paladin just usually won't die easily. Yeah, you can see like I can use another Sheltron. Sheltron consumes, using Sheltron consumes 50 Paladin's points. Yeah, also as you can see, if the healers don't heal me, usually the HP automatically generates. Okay, on to the second boss. Waiting for the last player to join us. Yeah, this is AoE, a red white. So I used Reprisal to actually reduce the 10% of the damage originating from the boss. Yeah, so basically this boss is actually going to draw energy from the surrounding water, and then this is actually called the knockback AoE. You can see like starting from the center of the arena, everybody just saw the pattern, right? Like basically the mechanic tells us like, you know, the boss is actually going to shoot us away like from the center of the arena. How come I didn't get shot away? It's because I used one ability. It's actually called the Arm's Length. Arm's Length basically is one of the knockback immunity. So this time a boss just draw fire energy, and then boss actually targets the ground to actually shoot out that fire energy. So that's why all of the players had to go into the water bubble to actually get elevated, right? So once actually players get elevated, then like, you know, we would dodge the ground AoE. Okay, so as you can see, boss again drew water energy, and this time my arm's length is actually on cooldown, so I have to position myself to get knocked away. But you can see like the knockback distance isn't that long, so basically that means I have to just go to the center of the arena, and then when I get knocked back, like, you know, I will still, I won't get pushed into the ring, like out of the arena. So after the second knockback, everybody just saw earlier, healer got a marker or symbol, and then that means the healer, we call this type of attack as a healer stack. Basically, all of us, we have to stack with the healer player to share the damage. If actually the rest of 3 players do not share, do not stack with the healer, more likely when healer takes like that damage, a healer will die. So as you can see now, I just created a line or a tether with the healer. So this is actually tank's significant action. Only tank has this action. It's called cover. So basically, cover, that means I can actually cover the damage taken by healer. So healer won't get hit at all, but I will get a double hit. So you see that was another knockback attack, but my arm's length was actually off cooldown. So that's why I can actually use some knockback immune. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so healer actually just got a second healer stack mechanic. And then there is another Paladin's action, which was on cooldown. It's called a Passage of Arm. So I didn't have Passage of Arm because I used that during the first healer stack mechanic. But I gave healer a shield. So if you paid attention, intervention, that's the name of the shield. So this shield will actually help healer reduce the damage the healer would take. Alright, so on to the last boss. Alright, as you can see, the path is again blocked by the damaged bridge. So there's no need to really move forward. So we just actually focus on killing these 4 mobs. And as you can see, my Paladin's points are at 100 now, so I can use a Sheltron. So Sheltron lasts for, I believe, 8 seconds. And I have another 70 points. I can use a Sheltron again. When playing as a tank in dungeon, the most important thing is actually to tank, right? So tanks' DPS output isn't as high as a DPS players, but the tank's job is actually to draw attention of enemies and then don't die, just to take damage instead of like take damage for your healer. So because like those enemies, they focus on attacking me instead of attacking a healer or other DPS. So as you can see, there are only 2 enemies. So to actually draw attention to these 2 enemies, I first just used my shield lock. Basically, I just throw away my sword towards one enemy, and then I quickly just target another enemy, and then another action all of the tanks have is a provoke. So when I actually provoke, that means I significantly gain aggro from one enemy. Alright, so another group of enemies, and then again, as you can see, my Invuln ability Hollow the Ground is available, and you can see my HP isn't that high. So of course, this is the perfect opportunity for me to use Hollow the Ground. After I use Hollow the Ground, whatever enemy attack me in 8 seconds, I won't reduce, like my HP won't be reduced. And you can see because my HP won't get reduced, so it's actually quite beneficial for healers to heal me up. So I just used the Rampart, 20% self-mitigation 2, Sheltron, blocking 2, and also Repressal. So as you can see, 3 mitigation tools I just used there. So basically, however enemy strike me, they won't reduce my HP significantly. Alright, on to the last boss. Excuse me. Yeah, this boss has very interesting mechanics. Every boss at the end of each dungeon, the mechanic is all different. Yeah, so opening all of the treasure coffer is actually a courtesy. As you can see, I do not need all of them, just because my character's gears are actually at the best right now in the game. Yeah, so draw boss back to the center, and then activate. Yeah, this is actually a AoE effect. Hopefully I'll give a shield. Yes, I gave shield to all of my comrade, all of my partners in time. Okay, this is a very interesting mechanic. You see, like, I'm surrounded by pinky ring, so I have to go to the blue ground. So then, like, when pinky ring resolves, I won't really get damage at all. So vice versa. So this time, you see, I will gain a blue triangle. So now I need to go to the pinky side. But on top of this mechanic, 4 of us are also surrounded by the AoE ring. So that means, for sure, all of us, we will get hit by AoE ring. This is Tank Buster. I need to activate my Rampart, 20% damage reduction too. And you can see now I have 80 tank points. I can for sure use my Sheltron, but for later. So very interesting part of a boss fight is to mechanic usually overlap. So you can see I have to go to the pinky ground because I'm surrounded by this blue ring. And also in the meantime, boss is actually going to shoot out the knockback mechanic. So that's why I had to use my knockback immunity, so I won't get knocked away. So I could really focus on handling the pinky and the blue mechanic. All right, another very interesting mechanic. Boss just flew away, and then boss is actually going to shoot out meteors. So just have to see like all three meteors, they actually align with the column of the ground, and then when they actually strike, when they hit the ground, they will actually create AoE ring. So that's why you see like right after the first group of meteors, I activate my sprint. Sprint, that means that I will actually run faster. So that's actually also a very useful tool to use when you play this game. Whenever you play Final Fantasy XIV, whenever you actually fight the boss, single target boss, if you have to travel long distance, I highly recommend you to use the sprint. This is like a three mechanic like grouped together. Yeah, so you see like three mechanics, like a pinky blue mechanic, knockback mechanic, and then also the AoE effect. So to actually ward off the previous tank buster, I used both my Sentinel, the 30% damage reduction 2, plus a Sheltron, my blocking 2. Yeah, so here you can see this is another AoE, so I'm gonna use Passage of Arm, plus Reprisal. So Reprisal reduce 10% of boss damage, and the Passage of Arm also reduce 15% of boss damage. So again, as you can see, the three mechanics overlap. So I want to be knocked back into blue, and then the AoE. You can see because of the tank, if you pay attention to the left corner of the screen, I am the tank. So whenever I get hit, the boss won't significantly reduce my HP. But if a boss actually does a red-white damage, then healers and the DPS, they will significantly take damage. So that's the reason why playing healer in this game is very, very crucial. Healers want to heal as fast as possible. Yeah, so one of the DPS almost died. So that's why I used cover earlier, but I got knocked away, like further away. So using cover has a distance limit. I cannot really just stay super far away from that player, and I can still cover them. So I have to just stay very close to them. All right, so this has wrapped up this dungeon. And as you can see, very good. So around the left bottom corner, so you can see I have received a 2-player commendation. So basically, other 3 players, that healer and the 2 DPS, 2 of them, they actually gave me commendation. I really want to thank them. All right, so that has just wrapped up that dungeon run. So for sure, like, I have actually played the dungeon, and you can see my weapon, my left-sided gears, and also my accessories were actually damaged a little bit. As you can see, like, right beside the icon of the weapon, there is this green bar, like a vertical bar, and then the vertical bar is actually, as you can see, its color is the green, so that means like the weapon is actually damaged a little bit. So in Final Fantasy XIV, there is this system, like the condition. As you can see, we have the, if you actually pay attention to the weapon window, so right below material, in crafting and repairs section, the first status, that's condition, so 95%. So that means all of my weapon gears, some of the gears, the condition is 96, some of the, you see the accessories, the condition ranges from 93 to 95. So basically, usually as long as all of my gears accessories condition is above 90%, I should be fine. But I have a habit of just, keeping all of these gears accessories at 100% condition. So that's why all around the Final Fantasy XIV's map, like every map has several mender. So I'm gonna talk to mender to actually repair all of my gears. All right. So usually that's actually the first thing I do after I log in to the game daily, and then I'm a reader, so I don't like to read. Yeah, sorry, I just need to quickly text back my friend. Yeah, I'm sorry about the texting. I have a friend, like a special friend, so I need to really reply their message. Sorry for that. So the next thing usually I'd like to do, because I'm a reader, and as another player, everybody just saw earlier, like my friend who was actually striking the dummy to practice their job's rotation. So he's actually a reader as well. Basically, like playing Final Fantasy, there is actually no such hard restriction or harder rule. I can actually do whatever I want, right? Just based on my plan, or based on my mood, based on my friend's plan. But I am a reader. Basically reading means fighting against really hard contents. Is my hobby, right, in this game. So usually the second thing I do daily, when I do not really read with my static or other friends in the reading community, I like to go to Party Finder, and then to find any raid I can join them. So I really like to try this End Singer's Aurea, because this is actually the third extreme fight in Endworker expansion. As you can see right now, there are two healers slots empty. So luckily I do have a healer, Sage, and one of my friends in my static, Dynamy, he has actually taught me how to use Sage quite well. So I'd like to join this party. This is actually called the Party Finder, basically just a random party. Alright, I have just joined them, and usually I'd like to say hi. We just actually wait another healer to join the group, then we can actually go into this fight. All right, so ready to go. Yeah, let's actually get us started first. Yeah, so the end singer, I forgot I have actually recorded any end singer's Savage fight in this channel before. So if I haven't, this is actually a good chance I'd like to show everybody this fight. It's actually one of the most interesting fights along Endwalker's story. I won't really explain too much, or I will try my best to explain. So because it's actually Savage, so it's actually quite the intense. I might not have enough time to actually explain to everybody, but I'll try my best. So my job is actually Sage. I'm actually a shield healer. As you can see, the name suggests shield. So I give shield to all of my partners before any Mechanica hardly strikes them. Right? So right now, I'm gonna actually give Cardia to actually this main tank. Basically, Cardia works this way. Whenever I hit the enemy, so my tank, this tank, their name is BGs, they get healed up. So if you actually get the logic, I strike the enemy, and they get healed up, right? So that's why it's significant for Sage player to actually give tank, the main tank. There are two tanks. The main tank will actually takes the damage from the boss, this is Cardia. And the Eucratia, I'm gonna actually use the Eucratia so I can actually give shield to main tank as well. The timing to give shield is very important. I do not want to actually give shield to this tank early because the shield has actually a time limit, right? So I also just actually give all of the players regen. Basically, their HP will actually slowly increase after getting hit. So I don't really have to worry about like shielding them. So now I have to give another shield, and then I will heal them. The other player is actually Astrologian, considered as one of the pure healers. So they don't give shield to all of the players. They just heal them, right? But their healing potency should be actually stronger than healers who actually give shield. Yeah, so now I want to heal my main tank and then give boss, shield group again, and then give group regen. So then I just really do not have to worry about healing them. Now they are double tank buster. Both tanks will actually take hit. So I better actually take enough time to heal both tank. I don't know the reason why the other two players also get hit. So one of the tanks should be really pay attention to their position. They actually just hit. They are basically that tank just to kill the other two players, which is pretty bad. I think at this point, we should really reset. I also just got hit. You can see I died accidentally, so the other healer first tried to raise me. Yeah, do not go to center. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, this part is a very interesting mechanic. Yeah, after here, like two healers should really separate, but into the center to separate. Yeah, so the other tank should really go away. Do not really kill the other DPS player by tank some location. Yeah, region to heal, give everybody Panheima. Yeah, again, this is a very interesting mechanic. Yeah, heal up again. Yeah, heal everybody again. Yeah, give everyone a shield. Shield again. Yeah, heal again, shield again. Yeah, you see like the last hit from a boss has a bleeding debuff. That means like, slowly everybody's HP will actually reduce. So another very interesting mechanic here. Just to dodge those rings. Yeah, three players got hit. Yeah, sprint. Run faster. Back to center. Heal main tank or off tank. Another raid wide. So give everybody a regen effect. Tank buster. Double tank buster. Heal off tank. Raid wide. Get ready to heal. Heal up. Keep everybody shield again. Healers stack. Two groups separate. Another players die. Heal everybody. Sprint. I'll explain the reason why. The two knockback effect goes run back all the way, run. Quick running. Okay, back to take the tower. Stay side. Raise the main tank. Heal main tank. Stay side, stay side, stay side. We have actually, like many players have actually died so many times. Let's see if we can really kill boss. Oh, this is an enrage. Yeah, the melee DPS should really use the LB2 now. Two percent. Oh no, enrage. Yeah, stay side, stay side. Sorry for that. Sprint. Tank Buster. Q. Sprint. Side. Uh-oh. Oh, I think one of the players has given up. Okay, so it's okay. We might not have enough time to really do another raid. But yeah, this is actually my daily routine whenever I do not really raid with my FC friends or my static. So usually I'd like to run a daily leveling roulette to obtain that Anthro cluster. So in future, I can really use that Anthro cluster to exchange a material to enhance my future weapon or accessories. And then if I have time after doing that leveling roulette, I'd like to join one random party finder to actually raid a little bit. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Please leave your suggestions how I can make this channel more interesting. More Final Fantasy XIV related videos will be posted.